everybody. Myself settled here. Sorry I'm a few minutes late. Just finishing up dinner, getting myself organized, trying to get my thoughts organized, getting everything ready to go. How are you guys? I bet. Whew. I'm not doing spirit today, you guys. Holy, I'm trying to get control of my own brain here. Sorry, I'm just turning up the music just a little bit. Okay, hello, my friends. Okay, so because so many of you have asked me so many questions about NESARA, GESARA, what's going on in the world, all of that kind of stuff, I thought that I would pop on here and just do a live and talking only about that. We're not doing spirit today. So I'm going to be doing this differently than I usually am. I'm going to keep my glasses on today. I'm going to be reading the comments, so feel free to comment and share. And hello, Heather. Hello, Wanda. I honestly, what I want to do tonight is just have an open and honest discussion about everything that's going on. I don't know about you guys, but during these lockdowns, I've done an enormous amount of research, as I think we're all supposed to be doing right now. I gotta stop saying I'm live. As well as I have been, the more research I'm doing, the more I'm realizing that I have been guided to where I am right now. And we've all been guided to exactly where we are right now for this moment in time. The more that I research, the more that I realize all the little pieces in my past, all the things that didn't make sense before, not just my past, but about life, about the world, are starting to fall into place and click into place and make absolute sense. And there's a lot of people that are scared out there right now because the mainstream, I'm going to try to use some code words because certain words get you kicked off, and I don't want to do that, right? I just want to have a good, open, honest discussion. But it's hard for me as a psychic medium, knowing what I know about what's coming, feeling the actual energies that are going on in the world that are getting stronger and stronger and stronger every day, and feeling the clarity and the peace wash over me and not being able to share that with all of you or talk about it usually. So that's what I'm doing here today. Oh, look, here's lots of comments. Holy, hello you guys. It's so good to see you all. I'm not used to reading these comments, so forgive me if my face is in here. 5D. Somebody's asking me to explain 5D. Well, a lot of you are feeling this 5D shift, whether you understand what that means or not. What 5D means, the fifth dimension. The fifth dimension is the dimension of love, peace, connectivity. The fifth dimension is the dimension where you know that there is more to this life than just what you can see, touch, taste, and smell, than just the third dimension. That fifth dimension is the spiritual realm, is the godly realm, that's where I'm speaking to every day. When we die, I believe our souls are immediately vibrating in that fifth dimension. And as the old chains kind of around our consciousness are falling away, as the cabal is getting rounded up and all of those negative energies are being overcome by the light, the quicker and quicker and quicker we are entering into that fifth dimension where we will all be able to operate in love, light, and peace. Doesn't mean there won't be bad in the world. There still will be, but bad won't be in control anymore, if that makes sense. Dun, 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 dun. I can't see any more comments. I don't know if there isn't any more or if I just can't see them because I'm not tech savvy. You guys have to understand that. Feel free to call if you want to call. It's easier for me that way. We can just answer direct questions. But I want to talk about NESARA, GESARA too, because a lot of people don't understand what that is. But it is the most beautiful and amazing thing, and you guys all have to go and look up look at it's I don't want to butcher it, but it's an act that was implemented in the United States a long time ago, or brought about in the United States a long time ago, and that politicians and people, the good guys, for a long time have been trying to bring about. And it's a very complicated kind of thing, because what it does is it takes our laws back to a common law or a constitutional law. It gives all the wealth back to the people. It locks up all of the cabal. And what I mean by the cabal are the fraudulent banksters, the people at the top of the pyramid, if you know what I mean. All of the people that have been supporting this broken world. You guys have to admit, we've been living in a broken world. It's not normal. We've been conditioned to think that it's normal, that there's millions of people dying across the world. That's normal, there's a vaccine for that. We're all worried about 10,000 people that have died worldwide from COVID, and that's what the number is if you take away the comorbidities. And yet there is millions of people dying across the world that we have a vaccine for that. It's called food. And if half of these billionaires out there would share that money, then that wouldn't exist. And I think we all, at some level, we know this, but we've just been conditioned to just think, well, this is normal, right? Millions of children that go missing every year, or at least hundreds of thousands in this country and in the United States go missing every year. And we've been just conditioned to think that this is normal. There's so many things in our world that we've been conditioned to think is normal that is not normal. And that is about to completely change. Life is about to change in the way that you know it, you guys. Questions. Tell us about the reset and why it will happen. The reset just means, the reset's exciting. So the money, you guys, money. Let's talk money. So how many of you out there actually know what your money is? This is really important to study. I beg of you to go back and look it up. Look about what your money is. Look at, it used to be backed by gold, right? Our money, for every dollar that was printed, there was $1 worth of gold. Now, definitely not a historian. I understand the history of it, and I've done my research on it, but to explain it all to you in perfect clarity, I can't do that. So please go read it up for yourself. Long story short is that these, I don't know what, I'm just calling them cabal for lack of a better word. The people at the top of this pyramid of authority, of power, had designed this banking system that gives them the ability to have an element of control over our society while we are all in a debt slave society. So what that means is we are all working our butts off every single day just to give our energy, just to have a roof over our head and food in our bellies, right? There's a new system that's coming in that's taking over that SWIFT system. It's called the SWIFT system, the current financial system. And we're moving into a gold and asset-backed currency. It's called a rainbow currency. And it's called the quantum financial system. And I highly suggest, there's so many really great videos. In fact, there's a really, really super great one that Charlie Ward just put out on his show today that really goes over, it's very technical. It's way above my blonde head to be able to understand. I'll tell you that right now. What I can tell you that I understand about it is that it's a very transparent currency, right? So it's an asset-backed gold. See, I'm butchering it already. The quantum financial system is a blockchain asset-backed cryptocurrency. Make sense? Hold on. Okay. Hello. Hi, Nikki. I am live. This is my friend Nikki, you guys.
Hi.
So
I was just calling because I'm hoping that maybe I can post something about Cabal and it not get taken down off of your page, or if it will get taken down.
You can absolutely try. I'm all game for that.
Okay, I'm going to post something that I think everyone should watch and get some information about the Cabal, because it is phenomenal and it is very eye-opening.
Awesome. Awesome.
I will
Awesome.
post that link for everybody.
Okay. Thank you, hun.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye. And can I just say to you guys that she brings up a really good point right now. See, a lot of these big channels where we've been getting our information from recently, like Charlie Ward, Santa Surfing, all of these big YouTube channels that have all of the information and stuff right now, they've been getting taken down. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, they're all censoring any of this kind of information. It's getting taken down, it's getting blocked. And that tells you absolutely more than anything else. That tells you everything that you need to know. When they start censoring you and not letting you speak the truth, for example, they just censored about the HCQ thing. Oh, that's so frustrating. I shouldn't have said that word, or I'm going to get myself blocked here. But Facebook, Twitter, all of these social media companies, they're not doctors. And yet when all these doctors get up on the steps of the state capitol building and are screaming about the effectiveness of HCQ and about what their opinions are on the on what's going on, they get censored, they get shut down. So anyway, Tracy, I digress. Point is that because this is going on, each and every single one of us, I have like 37 people watching. it's like tiny, but you know what? I don't care, because each and every single one of you that are watching, we're the little guys. When the big guys get shut down, then there's like 10 million of us that stand up, and we have to start talking right now. You have to start trying to do whatever you can to just wake people up, but not gently. You can't shake them awake. The more you try to shake somebody awake, the more they will dig in and tell you you're a kook. I had a guy ask me that on a plane one day. Are you afraid that everyone's going to think you're a kook? And I looked at him and I said, you mean all of these people that are walking around in face diapers? Am I worried about what they're going to think? No. And I want to talk about the face diapers. And yes, I'm calling them face diapers, you guys, because, oh my God, I have a bit of a rant here. Let me just say this, okay? I have 4 children. 4. And I'll tell you, God gave each of us holes in our body to excrete the gases, the substances, the toxins from our body that we do not need. It's a beautiful system, actually, that God designed. The trees actually eat that stuff. They drink that stuff. You know, they love it. It's this amazing thing. So these holes in our body, they're meant to excrete the things that we don't need. So if you put a cloth, anything, over a hole down there, would you keep it on your face for like an entire day? Or sorry, on your butt for an entire day? Would that be disgusting? It's just as disgusting as having something here and then you're breathing it in and out. For the life of me, and you guys can disagree with me, please understand this is just my opinion. I've done my own research and this is my opinion based on common sense, motherhood, having 4 children. You ever had a child pee their pants? And, you know, then you're like, oh, God forbid, don't sit on the couch, don't touch the cat, don't, you know, because when their pants are wet, everything sticks to it, everything. If you're wearing a face diaper and it's on there for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour, 3 hours, and you're walking around into all of these other stores and businesses and places like that, everything is going to stick to the wet, right? I mean, isn't that common sense? I mean, am I crazy? Or is that just not common sense? And I don't know what happened to common sense. I think there was a funeral or something and I missed it. I don't understand. Well, I do understand. I understand that what is going on in the world right now is happening to shake us up. It's happening to, you know, show people what the truth is. Because the truth is, you guys, we've been lied to. We've been lied to our whole lives. We've been told that we don't have access to technologies that we do have access to, that they've kept from us so that they could have us continue living in this debt slave society. We've been lied to in the pharmaceutical area. We've been lied to in the banking area, lied to and stolen from in the banking area in every way you can think of. The world has been manipulated and controlled by these secret societies for a very long time. And it's really hard for some people to understand that. But when you can get past that, and then you can actually start going looking for the evidence, you're going to see the hundreds and thousands and millions of children that have been rescued around the world over the last 6 months, while many people have had their faces buried in their face diapers and have been terrified that they're going to die from a virus that is less deadly than, I think, less deadly than the common flu, and most certainly less deadly than the H1N1 a number of years ago, and nobody wore face diapers then, right? So while we've all been worried about this because the little black box told us to, and the experts told us to, and because our powers that be shut down our world and made us, even the people that didn't want to pay attention had to pay attention when the whole world shuts down, right? And I'm going off on a tangent. I'm losing my train of thought here. I get so wrapped up in this. I get so angry about what's going on. And that's what I was saying, is that while everybody is wrapped up in the fear that they're pushing, people's lives are being destroyed over this. People are killing themselves. People have lost their businesses, their homes. People are scared. They're having heart attacks and going through health issues that are a cause of not being able to receive the care that they needed to receive when everything was shut down. It's not okay. It is so not okay. And instead of looking at all of that, if you go and you research the truth and you see what actually is going on, and you see and you follow all of the executive orders that Trump is doing, and you start going, why is this happening? And you follow the events that are going on around the world, the peace deals. Do you guys even know about the Abraham Accords? Donald Trump said something in his address to the UN. I know I'm going off. I'll read your comments in a second. He said something to the UN this morning. He did an address to the UN, and I cried like a baby. And I hope I can say it without crying, because my entire life, this world has known war. My entire life. And I know for well beyond my entire life, this world has known war. And he got up there today and he said that there will be no more blood in the sand. And you guys, as a medium, maybe just as a person, it's more than I can handle emotionally, because it's so amazing. I mean, how many of you thought that we were going to live to see world peace in our lifetime? And I know there's a lot of people that are probably thinking I'm freaking wacko, but that's okay. People have been telling me I'm wacko since the beginning. And you know what? If you look up NESARA and all of the elements of NESARA that have to come in, the retraining of the judges and the courts, and the changing over of the money, and the elimination of payroll tax, and all of those kind of things that are already being implemented every single day. There's a new one that's announced. It's so extraordinary, the world that we are about to enter into. You guys have absolutely no idea. Okay. I'm just going to take a peek here. So, yeah, someone's telling me that see, you guys are confirming shadow banned. Oh, that reminds me, you guys, please understand, if you're sending me a message, and as I'm saying that, there's a few messages that I did see come in today. I just haven't had time to answer yet. But please understand that some of my messages have just been disappearing. I just don't get them. Or I get them 5 days later or something. That just happened to me. I had a lady call me and book a reading and say she just sent me an email. And I did not get that email until 3 days later. So that happens when you speak the truth. They start censoring you, which is insane. They're censoring us talking about, our opinions of what's going on in the world. This is our lives on the line here. But yet they let pedophiles have all the accounts they want on Facebook. It's insane. Maybe not all the accounts they want, but there's so many of them, you understand, that they let just go on. Somebody said Robert Steele. Yes, he's a former CIA agent. I like Robert Steele very much. And his videos, you guys, are actually very short, to the point. And he is, former CIA agent. He's awesome. He really is. He was on, what is the name of that board or that council? I can't even remember. International Justice for Trafficking, or I don't know, something like that. There's a big council that was put together to go after and deal with the child trafficking and stuff. Can we just talk about that for a second? I know a lot of you guys don't like Trump, but have you seen the amount of child trafficking, human trafficking that has been exposed, and all the people that have been arrested and all of the children that have been saved? Have you guys been following that recently? Because the mainstream news, I gotta find another word for that because it's gonna get me banned. The clown networks, they are never going to tell you this stuff. They're never going to get up there. And that itself says something, doesn't it? Oh, there was 57 or 157, or in Australia's case, 350,000 children rescued, and yet not a single peep out of the clown network. That is extraordinarily alarming to me. At least it was alarming, I guess is the word that I would use in the beginning when I started understanding all of this. And now it's not surprising. It's not surprising to me that the stars and the people that we idolized are now acting a fool. I need you guys to understand, or not I need you, but you will understand soon enough that the people, at least the way I've understood it, is that the people that have been involved in the trafficking, in the cabal, in that entire Masonic control system, that those people are being exposed and having to show the public their true colors. So, for example, you can look it up. There's a story in the United States where a whole bunch of child welfare workers, CPS workers, wore a bunch of shirts that said legal kidnappers. Legal kidnappers. Do you think they wanted to wear those shirts? I mean, I think the way that the article was spun was that they were walking around all arrogant. Yeah, we're legal kidnappers. I think that's the way the article was spun. But do you really think that they would want to walk around like that? I really do believe that what we are seeing play out right now, the story's already won, you guys. The story's already won. The good guys have already won. Peace is coming in no matter what. They are not going to September 11th, this one. They tried to. That's what COVID was, you see. COVID was another September 11th. It was their attempt to hijack the financial reset. The old financial system was crashing, you guys. It wasn't going to work any longer. And the bad guys know that we are supposed to be moving into the Gesara, the quantum system. So they have done everything in their power to try to bypass that, hijack it, and take us down that timeline of the 5G, the 5G, which is different than 5D. Please understand, and the microchipping and all of that kind of stuff. They've been programming us, literally. That's why your TV is called programming, you guys. I know it's hard to believe that that's true, but it really is true. It's called programming because that's what they're doing. They're programming your consciousness. And so they've been programming us for a while to accept that when this happens, we should just go along with it. But isn't it a beautiful and a wonderful thing? And thank you, God, for America. Thank you, God, for President Trump. And thank you, God, for each and every single one of you who stand up and refuse to go along with this. Because as long as we continue to go along with this, it's going to continue to happen. They will come in and take over all of your rights. All of them. All of them, all of them. Anyway, I asked my grandma a long time ago. My grandma was born in 1913, and I guess that's kind of where I get my love of history from, because she and I used to sit and have a lot of conversations, and she was alive during the time of Hitler. She was, my age or a little bit younger during the time of Hitler. And I asked her, that was something that bothered me. I know it's weird. Now that I know that I'm a psychic and an empath and stuff, it makes sense to me why something like that would bother me. But my entire childhood, I wasn't haunted by like some movie clown or some, scary character from TV. Nah, I was haunted by the real thought that an evil could have existed in this world, such as the man that that had been described to me. And I had asked my grandmother, how did the people in the German people and all of the people that were involved in that, how did they just go along with these ideas? How did they just turn over their Jewish neighbors? And how did they just turn on each other and think it was okay to gas all of these people and do all of these things? And she said, well, first of all, most of the population didn't know that those atrocities, those murders, and the gruesomeness of the death camps and whatnot were even taking place. Most of the people didn't know that. It's like today, they don't go around broadcasting it. Oh, by the way, this is what we're going to do to you. No, they hide it, they twist it, they turn it, and they make you think it's good for you. It's interesting when I hear myself say, but how did they get them to turn in their neighbors? And yet here we are in 2020, and how many people are turning in their neighbors for not wearing a face diaper? How many people? You guys know that's a sign of slavery, that takes your power away? How many of you feel the panic attack, that I can't breathe? It's a way to diminish your energy and diminish your power, and it's not okay. We can't function when our immunities are down. We can't function when we're in panic and despair and when our energy is pushed down. We can't vibrate and be the best of who we can be for each other or ourselves in that state of mind. And this is just another symbol of the fact that when you're walking around with this, it helps everybody else in society to know. When you see people walking around like this, it's instant fear, instant panic, instant, I know the world is not normal. I know that, I feel fear instantaneously. And it's not okay. I mean, I get some nasty looks from some people when I'm out there wearing, my smile and my face and actually breathing fresh air. How dare I? I know. But you know what? I've actually been able to help a few people along the way be able to breathe fresh air as well. Please don't be afraid, you guys. The thing that I can't understand the most is not the people that believe the science, okay? If you believe the science behind the face diaper, I have absolute respect for you. I just respectfully disagree 1000%. But the people that know and or believe the same as that I do, that this is actually worse for you than breathing, than having, that fresh air is so much better for you than having this over your face. But there's still people that will do it anyway because they're afraid to be the only one in the store without it. That I just can't understand. I don't know. I guess I've been fighting that evil Masonic system my entire life, that the thought of bending to its will infuriates me. It's not happening. Not now, not ever. I'll tell you that. And so as I was saying, it's a really wonderful thing when you go into, I'll give you one example of why it's so important to stand your ground and be able to be an example for other people to see. I went into a grocery store, and as I was at the till paying for my groceries and stuff like that, there was an older lady, probably in her 70s, and her daughter that was standing beside her. And the older lady, you could see, was like holding her chest and very dramatically struggling to breathe. And my heart was just breaking for this woman. And finally she pulled down her mask, and her daughter elbowed her, and she's like, "Mom, you gotta wear the mask. It's the bylaw." And the mom looked up at me and she's like, "But she's not wearing one." And so I informed the daughter. I actually have it on my phone. I have it ready to go, you guys. And I pulled it out and I said, "You see, the bylaw has exceptions. A lot of people don't understand that. But there is exceptions. One size does not fit all for any medical advice." I mean, come on, you guys. This is another common sense thing. In what world does one medical recommendation work for everybody? Some people have allergies. Some people have sensitivity. Some people have anxiety attacks and panic attacks. You know what? Here's a big one. Some people have been raped and they've had their face covered and smothered. And when you put that over somebody's mouth, it takes you right back to their trauma. You know, it's not okay. You shouldn't force anyone. Anyway, back to the lady. So I looked at her and I said, you know what? There is exceptions in the bylaw. And that if you have a medical condition and I started reading her all of the conditions of the bylaw, which just so you guys know, in the bylaw, it actually says that if you are providing or receiving a service, you don't have to wear it. Go figure. Go figure. You break that one down. I mean, anyway. And so when I explained that to her, the lady pulled it right down and she's like, oh, thank God I can breathe. And you could just see the relief. And, you know, I could feel the tears behind her eyes and it choked me up. And her daughter pulled down her face mask and mouthed the word thank you to me and pulled it back up. My heart breaks. My heart breaks for the people that are struggling to breathe and that can't breathe or that are feeling the fear and the panic that is being baked into society. You guys, turn it off. Turn off the mainstream news. Turn off what they're telling you and look for the truth. Look for evidence of the truth. I'm not just saying go by me or anybody else that's up here spouting this is what's happening and that's what's happening. I've been wrong about a couple of things already. Remember that new king I told you about? I don't think that's real. I don't think he's real. I really don't think I'm not getting a good vibe. I'll tell you something. Well, no, I don't want to say that. I'm just going to say that I'm not getting a good truthful vibe on that. I've put it out there. I've prayed on it. I've meditated on it. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, then you can research Greg Hallett and the new King of England and see what had the whole world questioning whether this is real or not real for a while. And I'm not saying that the man isn't real. I'm just not sure if the claim that he's claiming is as is said. I'm not saying it's not, but here's the thing, and I'm not afraid to be wrong. That's why I titled this, Let's Talk. I know I'm the one up here doing all the talking. You guys are just listening. Nobody's even really commenting. But there's people here watching, so I'm going to keep talking. But that's why it's Let's Talk, because we all need to be talking about this with each other. We've been so conditioned and programmed that, you know, don't talk about politics. Don't talk about this kind of stuff with your family. God forbid you provoke an argument. Get mad. You guys should be getting mad. We've been lied to. Things have been stolen from you. You know, every dime of income tax and interest and bullshit that they have, you know, trapped us into to make us work 8 hours a day to pay their debt slave society. It's not okay. Humans are meant to be loving each other and doing good things. I mean, you know what's going to happen, you guys, is we're going to wake up and everybody in this planet is going to have money. Money is not going to be the same thing that it's hard. Get myself all worked up. We're going to wake up in a world where everybody has more than enough to live on. And we don't have to work to make money to live, but we will want to work. Because here's a really good example of what I mean by this. Let's say we have a homeless addict on the street, okay? And the quantum financial system reboots the financial reset happens, and I do believe it's going to happen worldwide, because once you start researching the QFS, quantum financial system, and like I said, go visit that video on Charlie Ward's site, you're going to really see that once we get into the financial system here, it's hard for me. Every time I say Charlie Ward, I'm a medium. I'm a psychic medium. The gentleman lost his son, and man, it's been getting hard for me to even watch his videos lately. Anyway, what was I saying? Quantum financial system. So when they shift it over, it's going to go over the whole world. And so we're going to wake up and everybody is going to have all the money that has been stolen from us is going to be given back. We're going to be transferring our old bank accounts into the new bank accounts that are gold backed, protected, and not in the hands of the cabal. And so we're going to be able to take, let's just take this one person who's like, say, a homeless addict on the street. The only reason that person is a homeless addict on the street is because they have been decimated by the drug industry, by the pharmaceutical industry, by the system, the debt slave system that has left them with nothing and pennies to be on the street. Because I'll tell you something, you guys, common sense says that somebody who has a healthy, happy, thriving, wonderful life does not choose to bury themselves in drugs and alcohol and things like that. So, and if they had the choice, okay, when you throw in the technologies like the med beds and the pharmaceuticals, I don't want to even use pharmaceuticals because I think pharmaceuticals are really going to change. I think the pharmaceutical industry was designed to keep us sick because they make so much money off of that. That's my opinion. And not all drugs, obviously, but the majority, I believe that if we get away from the pharmaceuticals and back onto the natural herbs and supplements and things that our bodies are supposed to be on, as well as being given, you got to understand, you guys, that the drugs that actually do help us, this old system has kept away from us. For example, cancer was cured many years ago, and they just have not released the cures to us. We're not allowed to have the cures. You know, in my research, I saw that a doctor is not even allowed to tell you naturopathic remedies. So if they know that there's a drug to fix something, or that there's a naturopath that would do the same thing, and a naturopathic remedy, herbalistic remedy, or something that's natural from the earth, they're not allowed to tell you, or they can lose their job. Did you know that? I didn't know that until I started doing my research. But anyway, so what's going to happen is when you take somebody who is in that state and you tell them, look, you're rich. You have all the money you could ever want. You can have a house and a car, and you can have everything you need. You don't need to sleep on the street anymore. You can give them the therapies that will help eliminate the toxins from their body so that they're not addicted anymore. There will be so many people that will volunteer to be, you know, we're all going to want to help. When you guys understand the gravity and the level of corruption that has been in this world, and it will be revealed to us. And when it is revealed, all of us, because humanity really is good. I know we've been trained to believe that humanity is not good, but I promise you it really is good. And when, you know, we're all comfortable and everybody is not like in survival mode anymore, then what we're going to do, our biggest concern is going to be wanting to go to work and wanting to use whatever we are trained in to help our fellow man. Addiction counselors and people in that field are going to want to go and help those people that are on the street. You know, hotels will offer to put them up, and humanity as a whole, people like me will step up, and we will all help each other, you see, in this new world. And not because we have to, but because when you take somebody who has been living in pain for their entire life and you take away their pain, anybody who has ever been addicted to anything before understands that this is true. And not just addicted, but let's talk about, you know, somebody, let's say you've had a back surgery or something and you're finally free of that pain. You found a miracle drug or a miracle therapy that works. All you want to do is share it with the world, right? All you want to do is go and help your fellow man. That's the world we're moving into. And you just got to look around, you guys. You just got to follow the little news clippings. Look for the evidence of it. For example, I highly recommend that you go look up, I'm going to get the history actually on my YouTube right now because I want to make sure that I get this absolutely right for you guys. It's literally like a 3-minute clip. And where was it from? Excuse me. An union representing Union representing Canadian auto workers announces $2 billion deal with Ford Motor Company. That was today. And I believe it was in Windsor. And you know what he said? This is what makes me go, yes, yes, yes. And this made me cry a little bit too. Because what he said was, and you can even see this guy, you can see when they talk. Please understand, there is a gag order on Nasara. They can't just get up there and say, oh yeah, we're, you know, and talk about this, blah, 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 blah. They can't do that. There's a gag order on it until it is officially announced. Anyways, and this gentleman, you can see he's kind of rattled already. $2 billion deal for Windsor. That's huge, you guys. That's huge. To make 5 types of electric cars. Yes, I know we're all moving into that world and stuff, but guess what, you guys? Electric cars. 5 different types of electric cars. Why is that extremely important? Well, because back in like April or May, Donald Trump signed some executive orders that revamps the entire electrical grid of North America. Why? Because we're bringing in free energy. Part of NESARA and GESARA is that it releases all of the technologies that have been withheld from us, all of the cures and whatnot. They get released. When you hear Trump up there saying, we're bringing in the vaccine, he's not talking about giving you a shot that has like nano whatever that's going to 5G you and microchip you. No, you guys, that's not what he's talking about. He's talking about the vaccine for the virus. And the virus does not mean this coronavirus, which is actually the common cold that's been manipulated and tweaked. What he's talking about is the virus that has been plaguing this earth for thousands of years. That virus. And the vaccine for that virus is multi-leveled. That's why he said there's multi-things. He's talking about the military is going to have to deliver this. Why would the military have to deliver a vaccine, you guys? Unless we're talking med beds, generators, gold. Yes, gold. I'm telling you, I've had 3 dreams in a row, you guys, where I'm seeing gold being delivered to each person. Whether they actually... One of my dreams, I saw a stork bringing it like in a baby. I really don't think that's how it's going to be brought. But if you look at the symbolism behind it, I think what they're saying is we are just each going to wake up with this gold. And Donald Trump is sending so many clues, it's not even funny. You know, you guys, here's the thing. He says things and most people just right over their head. They don't even... It's like, it doesn't even register that he just said that. How many of you knew that jets could be invisible? Did you know that? Well, he didn't use the word invisible, but let me just play one tiny little, it's like a 10-second clip. Literally like a 10-second clip from his rally last night where he's talking about the bombers or whatever it is. Let me just, here. Hold on. Whoops. Well...
Completed military, and now it's a beautiful, brand new. We have F-35s, and you can't see stealth. There's stealth.
Did you see that? Did you hear that? I'm going to play that again. I don't know if you guys can hear it. It's not as loud as I'd like it to be. He said we have brand new F-bombers that you can't see. That you can't see. That means invisible. Did we know this? Did anybody question it? Did anybody go, whoa, 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 excuse me, Mr. Trump, did you just say we have a brand new planes that are invisible? I mean, isn't that the word for what you can't see? He said stealth, but another word for you can't see is invisible. Listen carefully, you guys. I'm going to play this one more time.
Completed military, and now it's a beautiful, brand new. We have F-35s, and you can't see stealth. There's stealth.
That you can't see? They're stealth. And you know what? At the Mount Rushmore fireworks thing, if you guys remember that, on July 3rd, I was so excited. I thought for sure that JFK Jr. was going to like get up and be like make his appearance and stuff. Like I said, I've been wrong about stuff too, you guys. This is called the Great Awakening. None of us really know for sure what is actually going to happen. We are all living it real time and watching what's going on. But anyway, so at Mount Rushmore, you know how he was showing all the planes, they did those flyovers, right? Well, I was watching, I believe it was Right Side Broadcasting, and on one of the flyovers, so it must have been the F-35 bombers, now I know exactly which one to go and look for. I watched the plane, and I had a buddy of mine, and he's a car guy, he's a real engine guy, so it's perfect, right? We're watching these planes, and all of a sudden, in the air, it flies over, and then poof, it literally goes into like a cloud of smoke and disappears. And I was like, no way, that can't even, did you just see that disappear? And my buddy was sitting there, he's drinking his beer, he's like, that didn't just disappear. It went behind the cloud, it just zoomed out of focus, it didn't disappear. planes don't disappear, Tracy. He's like, I'm the one drinking, not you, remember? But, so I'm telling you, I'm like, I saw that bitch disappear. I'm telling you. I'm sorry, you guys. I hope nobody's got kids in the room. Anyway, so I rewound that thing, and we watched it over and over and over and over again. And I watched it disappear a dozen times in front of my eyes. Poof. And now, yesterday, I hear that little piece of validation, and I know exactly what Donald Trump's saying. You guys, we have technology that is so far beyond anything that you can even imagine. Technologies that will make all of our lives so much better, so much easier, so much more amazing and wonderful, and bring out the best of humanity. The old society that we were living in brought out the worst. Hurt people. And we've all been baking in hurt for a really long time. Somebody said, will we be forced to go on lockdown again? We might, but what I've been told is that it's going to be the greatest lockdown of all time. So here's the thing, is that the way I understand it is that the quantum financial system, there is also a quantum voting system that is going to be brought in. And it's going to be run on the same kind of blockchain system, unhackable system as the financial system. And they do that, it's what's called an October surprise. So as we get closer to this election, see, right now, Donald Trump and the good guys, they are not announcing this publicly because it's so fun to watch the Democrats or the Democrats and the bad guys waste all their money on trying to promote these mail-in ballots when we're not going to use those dinosaurs. That's not going to happen. We are all going to be given these quantum voting system, and the way it's been described to me, we'll be able to see where our vote goes, and it'll be very transparent. It'll be unhackable, so nobody can get in there and hack it. It's something you'll be able to use your phone, your tablet, or actually go into the polling station and use their machine, but you will be able to look it up and see where your vote is. It'll be instantaneous. That's what quantum means. It's instantaneous. So anyway, when they do this, when they implement this reset, I have been told they are going to have to shut it down again worldwide, only for a few days, while they see, it's kind of like when you reset your computer, the internet, your cell phones, all of that kind of stuff is going to have to go dark. They're going to have to and then reboot it. And when it gets rebooted, when it gets rebooted, we will be rebooted into the quantum system. And it is unhackable in that system. So we'll all be able to vote and do our thing. And so if we are locked down again for just these couple of days, because while they do this, there's going to be a last sweep, a last roundup of the last of the cabal, the last of the bad guys, so that they can release all of this wealth to us. They can't release all of this wealth and all of this gold and all of this prosperity for us if the bad guys are just going to round it up and get a hold of it, right? So they're really careful about how they're doing this. So yes, and I do have to say that it kind of depends where in the world you are if there's going to be another major lockdown. So for example, in Australia right now, they're going through a major lockdown there because it's under my understanding from what I've been reading and researching that they have pulled out about 1 million children from the underworld, from the underground. And if you don't know what that is, it's called DUMBs, Deep Underground Military Bases. You can look that up. They have these giant machines that are like big round burrowing machines is what they are, and they burrow tunnels under the ground and they make cities. They have giant cities under there, you guys. That's what all of these manhole fires and stuff are that are coming up, and the earthquakes and stuff that are going on around the world, because Donald Trump and the good guys, well, we've been all focusing on the fear of this virus that has a 99.99999% survival rate. They've actually been going and rounding up all the children and saving the children and blowing up the tunnels underground. And I know that sounds crazy, but please research deep underground military bases. And actually, if you go onto my personal Facebook page, not my work page, but my personal Facebook page, and you go scroll down, I just posted a video there from, I don't know his last name, it's Gene Decode, Gene, he is a CIA analyst that actually gets up and decodes, where he shows you all the maps. There's tunnels. It shows you, like, these are ancient maps that they have had for a very long time, and the government is well aware of it. So he gets up there and he takes us through it, and he does all these videos where he shows you which ones the military has gotten control of now and which ones they don't have control of. And it's hard to listen to, because what goes on in that world down there is beyond the comprehension of, we think our worlds have been hard. Whew. It's I don't even want to go there. It makes it's too hard, too emotional. Let's talk about another aspect here, you guys. Actually, hold on. Tachyon energy, Tracy. Tachyon energy. Okay, tachyon energy. And the famous people. Yes. Okay, so first let's talk about tachyon energy. Yes, you guys, look up tachyon plasma energy, because it is so extraordinary. So, for example, let me find my thing. See my phone here? This is my weapon, man. When I was on that plane and that guy asked me if I was worried that people were going to think I was a kook, and I'm like, I've got like 5,000 proofs and pictures and stuff, and every time he would try to say, yeah, well, what about this? I'd be like, well, what about this? And he'd be like, oh, and it's like, who's the kook now, buddy? Anyway, what was I going to look up? I get going and I forget what I'm trying to show you. Tachyon plasma energy. That's what I was trying to show you. Here we go. So on September 3rd, I believe it was. Is it September 3rd? Yep. I don't know if you guys can see this. Probably not. It's so small. I'm going to just try to hold it up there. No, that's not going to show you. Oh, there it is a little bit. Right there. So I'll just show that for a second, and then I'll zoom it in and read. So this was, they did an unveiling. The first public showing was in Linz, Austria on September 3rd, 2020. Now this little device is called a Universal Enhancement Spaceship Unit. Spaceship unit. Why is it called a spaceship unit? Well, probably because these technologies have been available to the space programs for many, many years. They just haven't been available to us. And now that all of the patents and the energies and patents and energies and therapies are being released, this is one of the therapies. So what the MedBed does, the tachyon plasma energy, what my understanding of it is, now please understand this is the blonde summarized understanding, and I really, really, really want you guys to go and research this for yourself. But my understanding of the way that this works is that it maps your DNA, your perfect DNA that is, you know, when we are in the mother's womb and our DNA is absolutely perfect still. And then, your DNA holds the cellular memory of every single organ, limb, part of your body, right? And so what this machine does is it has the ability to, like, it scans and maps your DNA, and it can regrow any organ, any tissue, any part of your body within a very short amount of time. I've heard between 3 minutes to 30 minutes. And it can literally regrow. We are going to see brain injuries, for example. See, there goes my voice. That's my emotion. People who've had brain injuries that, you know, that's going to help regrow the brain and the... I get emotional about this one because, as some of you know, my mom had a brain aneurysm many, 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 many years ago, 27 years ago now, and she lived. but she has brain injuries now. So to possibly be able to have my mom back and to have her full consciousness back, not that she's gone, but you know what I mean, and have her be able to live her full life again, that's extraordinary for me. And that's coming, you guys. That's coming for so many of us, right? Right, she said, another person asked, talk about the famous people that have been executed. Okay, so yeah, we do got to talk about this, you guys. I know you guys think I'm crazy, but I really want you to research and look this up for yourselves, because the way that they've been able to control us is by keeping this information from us, right? That's how they control people. It's like telling children that Santa Claus, you know, he's really coming tonight, and if you're not good, then Santa's not coming, you know. When you have that ability to have knowledge that is above what the rest of the people have, you have the ability to control them. So what's going on is many of the people around the world, especially the people in positions of power and authority, most, and not just many, most, have either been involved with the cabal in a form of financial corruption, sexual corruption like pedophilia or rape and assaults and things like that, just corruption altogether. They have been majority corrupt. You have to understand, you guys, that the old society is kind of like a pyramid, right? And the top of the top is the richest of the richest. They are also the most corrupt of the most corrupt. And the only way that you get to the top of that pyramid is if you are willing to be as corrupt or as evil as they are. And there's so many of us that aren't willing to do that, that weren't willing to sell our souls to the devil in order to get that level of fame and success. And so we have blamed ourselves and torn ourselves apart trying to find, you know, just some semblance of normalcy here at the bottom, blaming ourselves for our inability to get to the top because we couldn't thrive in a corrupt world. When all this stuff starts coming to light, you guys, you're going to be really proud of yourselves. All of you that walked away from that corruption, that made the good choice, the hard choice, the right choice, and not the easy choice. Oh, are you going to be rewarded in this new world? Because God sees all. I've been shown that so many times in my visions and my dreams, and he sees all. Anyway, I digress. So a lot of the people in that old world, there's a drug called adrenochrome, and I don't want to spend too much time on this. It makes me have, it makes me dissociate, to be honest with you. I have dissociative identity disorder traits from extreme trauma in my past, but only when I go to thoughts of extreme trauma, so I'm not going to linger there. But adrenochrome, and I highly encourage you to look it up, is a drug and a substance that is made from the adrenalized blood of tortured children. They torture the children. It releases the adrenaline into the blood. They make a drug from this adrenalized blood, and they do satanic cults and things like this with the blood and whatnot. But long story short, many of them are addicted to it. Not only is it a more highly addictive drug than heroin or any other drug in the world, and harder to get off than any other drug in the world, but as well, it is a youth serum. So you'll see all these celebrities, for example, Celine Dion, Johnny Depp, Sharon Stone, Courtney Cox. Oh my gosh, if you guys can find the pictures of what these people look like now, Madonna, they look scary looking. They don't even look like themselves anymore because their adrenochrome supply has been cut off. And anyway, so it's a youth serum. So these people that, like, let's take Cher, for example. She's what, like in her 50s, 60s, 70s now? She's getting old, and she looks way younger than I do. Now you can say that's plastic surgery, whatever. Yeah, maybe for some, but not to that extent. This youth serum, this adrenochrome, makes them look 60% younger. There is a video, actually, this came out in mainstream news in Turkey even before it came out here. So if you not Google, YouTube, if you put into YouTube mainstream news, Turkey, adrenochrome, English version, you will find the broadcast that they did, a really great broadcast that somebody did there explaining all of this. And he played a little excerpt from the Ellen Show where they had Sandra Bullock up there. And you got to understand that this world operates in symbology, you guys. They don't get up there and talk about pedophilia and stuff openly with each other, but yet they do, because they do it in code. Like, for example, pizza is a code for little girls. And so they'll be like, do you want to have a pizza party? See, they have codes for their sickness and their evilness, so they can discuss it right in front of us. So anyway, there's this clip from the Ellen Show that the news anchor in Turkey is explaining this to people, and he says, he shows this clip, and it's Ellen interviewing Sandra Bullock, and she's asking Sandra Bullock how she manages to stay so young and beautiful. How do you look so beautiful? And Sandra is describing, I think she called it micro needling or something. Clearly, I don't do that stuff, but it's something about, that was freaky. Whoo, I just heard somebody laugh, like right here, you guys, and there's nobody here. I'm alone. That creeped me out a little bit. Anyway, whew, made my heart go. Back to what I was saying. So she's talking to Sandra Bullock's describing how she gets this serum, and she's very awkward while she's saying this. She's like, it's like a serum, because Ellen's like, well, what is it that gets microneedled into your face? And Sandra's like, it's just this like serum that, you know, makes you look like a burn victim for a day, but then it just makes you look younger. And Ellen is like, oh, really, a serum? Where do you get this serum? Where does it come from? And Sandra Bullock is like, and this is how she says it. She's like, well, it comes from a donor of a young patient very, 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 very far away. And Ellen goes, oh, let's face it, it's the foreskin from a Korean baby. And they all start laughing, ha, 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 it's so funny. They think that we're stupid. People think that they're joking. They're not joking. They're literal. And now that their adrenochrome has been cut off, well, that's why you're seeing so many stars die of coronavirus. Trust me, I don't think they're dropping dead of coronavirus. Back to the arrest. So when you understand that this one's a little tougher to explain, because most people this is a hard one for people to grasp. So they've all been, not all, but a lot of them have been addicted to this substance. Most of them have been corrupt or evil in some way. And keeping in mind that technology is so far above what you can even contemplate is real. So this is going to blow your mind, you guys. And clones are real. Okay. So if you can understand that they have the plasma tachyon technology that actually regenerates food and food and other things, then you can understand that they have the technology that will recreate people too. And I know that's hard for a lot of you. Some of you just turn this off right now. Forget it. She's cracked. You're with the guy on the plane. She's a bit of a kook. But you know what? Here's something. I gave my friend this challenge. When this was first given to me, it was really hard for me to accept at first. But here's the thing about the clones, you guys, is that you can tell the clones because of the teeth and the ears. See, we can have body doubles, and people in celebrities and people in authority, they've done this for years. It's not publicly widely known. A lot of you know it, but they've done this for years. They use body doubles and stuff like that, right? Well, you can tell who they are because their teeth are different. Their ears are completely different. Our ears, you guys, are each unique. They're very uniquely designed and whatnot. Somebody's ears don't completely change, or their teeth don't just like suddenly get a big space in them like Justin Trudeau. So for example, if you look at pictures of Justin Trudeau from like last year and the year before and whatnot, he's got nice, beautiful teeth. Then you go back and you watch some videos of Justin Trudeau when he's doing his addresses and stuff in like April and May, and I believe it was around that time. And all of a sudden, Justin Trudeau's got this big space in between his teeth. Would he go get dental surgery to like knock his teeth out? Or like, who gets dental surgery to make your teeth worse? Like, these are the things that when we don't know of the technology around us, it just doesn't even register to us. Like, it just doesn't register. So they get away with this. So anyway, so you're hearing Donald Trump up there telling you all the time, Biden shot. Hello, Biden shot. Because guess what, guys? He's been shot. He's dead. The person you see up there right now, that's not a person. That's a clone. That's either a clone or it is a body double or it is an android that is breaking down. Yeah, I said android because Data, was that his name? In what's that show called? Star Trek Next Generation. He's real. I want to show you. I'm not going to find it right now. There is a picture that I have that was taken in the 70s, and it's of a man. You see him from the butt. So he's turned to face the back, and you see his legs and his butt, and then his back is unzippered. And there's a bunch of electronics in there, and there's two guys working on the electronics, fixing him. Just like in Data, he's an android. These things actually exist. They do. So what has been going on while we've all been dealing with this COVID thing is that the good guys have been rounding these people up, these people in positions of authority and celebrities and in the public eye, and they've been arresting them, and a lot of them have already been executed. The deal is that anybody who has hurt children or has, had anything to do with the adrenochrome or anything like that, there's no deals. They're automatically executed. And the cabal, the people that are running this, of course, they don't want you to know that, right? The mainstream news is complicit in this, and you should know that, because if they weren't complicit in this, then they'd be reporting on the millions of children that are being rescued worldwide. And I get a little loud when I say that, but I got to tell you how much it pisses me off that they're just fear-mongering and feeding this fear porn every single day, and meanwhile there is big, amazing, incredible things going on in the world, and they're silent. That makes them complicit, you guys. That's how these bad guys get away with it, is because they don't talk about it, right? They won't tell you this. They don't want you to know that Joe Biden is dead and was shot and convicted in a military tribunal. They don't want you to know that. They want you to vote for this guy. But you see, he's a dying clone, and that's why it's funny to watch, because it's like, I feel like I'm watching, every day I get up, I'm watching, as far as Biden goes, I'm watching like a spoof movie like Anchorman or something like that, where somebody is like playing with the teleprompter on him. And it's funny. I'm telling you, some of the stuff he's saying lately, wow. My favorite all-time Joe Biden clip, you guys. Who doesn't like politics when you can see stuff like this? My favorite Joe Biden clip is where he's talking to a reporter, and he says, this is Joe Biden talking, okay? Joe Biden gets up there and he goes, you know what? I've been doing this for 45 years, and I'll tell you right now, I am going to beat Joe Biden. I'm sorry. You can't make this stuff up. Yeah, that's the guy they're going to have for president. Oh, no. So anyway, I digress, because that was funny. So what they're doing is, in the background, they are rounding up these people. They are having military tribunals. Now, please look up the purpose and the point and the whole thing about military tribunals, because I don't even want to try to explain that. I will butcher that so badly. So they've been holding military tribunals. So blonde version of military tribunals, short trials that get to the truth as quickly as possible, and then implement the consequence right away. So if you're freed, then you're freed right away. If you're guilty, then the consequence is immediate, as far as I've been understanding. So many of these people are dead. That's why Trump is up there. He's shot. He can't actually said he's been shot. He's dead. That's a clone, because the people would be like, huh? Is Trump smoking drugs? Where'd he get that weed? I want some. Like, that would be people's reactions. They just don't get it. He gets up there and says, we have planes you can't see, and people don't get it. They're just, the world is asleep. Like, I feel like grabbing people and going, wake up. Did you just hear what he said? It's frustrating, and they're like, what? I don't get it. Oh, you guys, wake up, wake up, wake up. This is the best movie you've ever seen in your life. You're missing it. So anyway, mainstream media is not going to tell you this stuff. So what they do is they get a clone. They're like, oh my God, he just arrested and shot our main candidate. What are we going to do now? Get the clone going, George. Get the clone going. So they get this clone up there, right? And in the meantime, all of these celebrities, most of them have been already executed. Look up Gitmo. Look up the Gitmo prison and see all the renovations and all the work and all the money and all of that that's gone into Gitmo. And all the prisons that are being popping up on that little island around there. Wow, that's where they're putting the ones that are lucky enough to live. Anyway, remember, anybody that had anything to do with children doesn't get to live. They just don't. They just don't. Okay. Will Canada break away from the Queen? I think so, you guys. See, will Canada break away from the Queen? Well, if you look in... Lately, there's been a lot of reports coming out about the Queen that she's been dethroned. When this was all being first reported, I didn't quite know if I should believe it or not. And I have a very good friend of mine, Linda, and her cousin, who was just here in Canada last year. I know him very well. He is now living back in the UK, and he lives 5 minutes from the castle. So when this was all happening, and I was hearing the reports that the castle was boarded up, and the lollies, as they call them, the red guys with the big hats, right? That they're all gone. Whatchamacallit, and that the windows are all boarded up and all of that kind of stuff. So I wanted to know if that was true. So I asked her cousin if he could go and check it out for me and send me some pictures. And he did. And it's true. And they have what they call Gurkhas. Am I saying that right? Gurkhas? The military guards around the castle instead. So I believe what's going on, you guys, is that, see, the monarchies are the most evil of the most evil of the most evil. And a lot of people actually say that they are, either they are directly reptilians, or they are so corrupted by the reptilians that there's no humanity left in them anymore. Either way, it doesn't really matter. I don't think that there's any humanity left in them whatsoever at all. See, look up a place called the Black Forest in Germany, because it's all the royal families around the world, actually, all these monarchies that literally feed on the blood of children. You guys, this is a big game to them. This is really sick, and it's going to break your heart. But when you research this, you're going to find out for yourself that it's true, and it's all going to come out soon. But one of the things that the monarchs do, and this is very common known in the Black Forest, is it's very close to the royal grounds. Now, I think it's it could be the Dutch royalties. Don't quote me on that one, but I'm not sure exactly which royal family is connected to the Black Forest in Germany, but here nor there. What they do, what I can't say for sure, but what I've heard that they do, what goes on, is that they have hunting parties, and there's many pictures and articles and many facts that I have had backing this up. And what they do is they strip these kids naked and send them out into the forest, and then they hunt them down and rape them and kill them. And for the boys, they cut the genitals off and place them on their walls like we would hang deer antlers. It's atrocious. There's actually a story, you guys, that from, was it the 60s or the 70s? Could have even been the 80s, where the Queen Elizabeth was in Canada. I think it was BC. It might have been BC. That she visited, and she took 10 children on a picnic, and they never came home. They just disappeared. So I think what is going on is, see, the royal families around the world was another arm of control. They sucked up all the money. They corruptly hoarded all the gold and stuff and kept it away from the people. And so they're all being dissolved. You guys have to understand that the quantum financial system, the quantum systems that are coming into this world, the transparency of those systems will dissolve all royal families and all ability for organizations of any kind to be able to have that kind of accumulate that kind of control and wealth and power over the rest of the world, because absolute power corrupts absolutely every single time. And and I can't wait. I'll tell you this right now. Ever since you want a video that's going to haunt you, oh, it's terrible. So most of you know about Prince Andrew right now and how connected he is to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, right? And if you don't know who they are yet, I highly suggest you go and look them up. Jeffrey Epstein was one of the most prolific child sexual sadists and pedophiles in the entire world, man. He's known as, I'm going to digress for just a minute, Jeffrey Epstein and what's his name, Playboy guy, you know who I mean, the old guy that does Playboy. Those two guys are what's known as a honeypot. And what their job is, they're paid by the CIA. Their job is to bring in people in positions of power and get pictures and documentation of them in positions of, in not so nice positions, put it that way. It's blackmail material. That's what their job is. And I digress, that I have to say that underneath of the Playboy Mansion, Hugh Hefner, that's his name, underneath of the Playboy Mansion and underneath of Oprah Winfrey's house and underneath of the castle and all of these places, there's massive tunnels that link everybody and everything in the underground. I don't remember where I was going with that. I lost myself. So here, I did look on messages. Reptilians are insane. I absolutely believe that. I know, you guys, the whole thing about the reptilians, though, here's the thing. The reptilians are a really good example for everybody to understand how they've been telling us this for a long time, but we just didn't get it. Think about it. The Bible. Let's talk about the Bible for a second, you guys, because what they've done with the Bible is twist it, contort it, confuse us. They took some of the books out of it so that they used it as an element to keep us under control. But it is actually a great book of prophecy. And where was I going with this? Oh, yeah, the reptilians. So if you look at the reptilians and then you go back and you read the very first book of the Bible talks about the snake, right? The snake that tempted Eve. The reptilians, the race of beings that God tried to wash out in the Great Flood. They've been talking about this for a very long time. Dinosaurs, the greatest lie that was ever told to humanity was that dinosaurs went extinct. They didn't go extinct. They evolved, and some are good, some are bad, just like with us. Some are good, some are bad. But there is an enormous faction of them that have been working with the bad guys on this planet and doing some not so nice things. A lot of gene splicing and just human experimentation and horrible things like that in exchange for technologies that these bad guys would use in the underground but not up here. It's just sickening. Just sickening. That is exactly why Prince Harry and Meghan stepped away from the royal family. That is exactly why the royal family is splintering. Everybody is splintering, you guys. Everybody's running because they know that this is going to come out. So the thing is, these military tribunals is that, see, here's the thing, you guys. If Trump got up there when he was elected and he said, okay, so I'd like to tell everybody that your world has been corrupted and has been controlled by reptilians and Satanists and, they're drinking your baby's blood. Would any of you believe him? Of course not. Of course the world wouldn't believe him. So, what's going on, what we're seeing right now is you can't tell people the truth. You have to let them see it. You have to let them see, for example, we all know Trudeau is a dum-dum, right? That's being nice. I like how Spirit helped me correct myself. I had a much darker word much more nasty word in my head, and it came out nicely with Dum Dum. Anyway, but some people still love him, and if you're watching this and you love him, I'm sorry, but he's a dum dum. So his way of dealing with the overdose crisis of the fentanyl going on is, instead of cleaning it off the streets and, doing his job and keeping our streets clean and free of this kind of substance that kills people and destroys lives. Oh no, his way of dealing with it is saying, oh, okay, you guys, you just come to the hospital. We'll give you all the fentanyl for free. You come get our fentanyl. Don't take the drug dealer's fentanyl. A, he'll charge you money, and B, it might kill you. Come to the hospital. We'll give it to you for free. You guys, he just announced that like last week. I'm not kidding you. Go look it up. Find the article. And this stuff is happening so that they are exposing themselves, because we have to see the people that we trusted acting like fools so that we will understand that they are fools. And we have to see them for who they really are. So what's going to happen is that when they do this shutdown, this goes with that shutdown you were asking me again. So if they do this, quick shutdown to reset everything, that's when the way I've heard it is that they're going to start playing, they're going to use your phone and the emergency broadcast system. They're going to cut, when all the internet and everything goes down, you're going to get a thing over your phone. And they're going to start talking about, pardon me, the reset, and they're going to start explaining things that way. And then through our TVs and our devices, instead of having normal access and normal communication to the things we normally would, they're going to play these military tribunals. They're going to play all of these bigwigs and celebrities. They're going to have them all there on camera giving their testimonies and confessing on video. That was part of the deal. They had to confess. They had to. So it's not going to be Donald Trump up there telling you what's going on. They're going to expose it, and that's what's going on with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, is they're exposing. Okay, let me bring you to this for a second. Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. People do not understand that connection, and they are the key, the center behind all of this. So if you understand that Jeffrey Epstein is a honeypot, which means he's been paid by the CIA to entrap people, to get evidence and entrap people so that they are owned and able to be blackmailed by the cabal for the rest of their time, right? So if you understand that's his job, and then the good guys, Trump and the team of good guys, first, this is how it went down. People don't understand that this is how it went down, but this is how it went down. First, what they do is they arrest Ghislaine Maxwell. Oh, we got to talk about Ghislaine for a minute here. And the Maxwell family, please research Ghislaine Maxwell. She is more important than you guys think. Do not overlook her. She's not the poor, sweet girlfriend of Jeffrey Epstein. She is no victim in this, let me tell you. She gets me fired up. So the whole Maxwell family is involved in the corruption and this Masonic, in so many different ways. Anyway, Ghislaine Maxwell's father is like one of the head players of Mossad, I believe, or was. I can't remember what his name was. Something Maxwell, obviously. Anyway, her sister, just so you know. Do you know who Ghislaine Maxwell's sister is? She's married to Anthony Fauci. And not lying. Look it up. Anthony Fauci. You know, that name sounds familiar. Remember the doctor who got up in front of the camera and told us all to put the face diapers on, and that this, the common cold was going to kill us all? Yeah, that doctor. His wife is married, his wife is the sister of Ghislaine Maxwell, who was the girlfriend of Jeffrey Epstein, the pedophile. So their job, and Ghislaine Maxwell, she is trained in submarines, and she has her own submarine company because that's how they would bring in kids underground. See, they didn't just do this. Yeah, there's flight logs that are coming out, and the flight logs, man, are people freaking out right now because all these famous people's names are on the flight logs from Jeffrey Epstein's island, where he would bring them to his island where they would torture and have sex with children and do really mean things. So the big wigs in Hollywood this week are freaking out because their names are about to be released on those flight logs. Some big people are about to go down. So anyway, I digress. Back to Ghislaine Maxwell. So what they did is, so Ghislaine Maxwell has the submarine contract. It's actually run by her father. I think Jeffrey Epstein was actually underneath her. So what they did is they arrested her first. People don't realize that. They arrested her first. And then they have technologies that can implant listening devices. Okay? You heard me correctly. Implant listening devices. So it's not like they just wire you up. No. This is like in your tooth or your ear. I don't know how they do it. But they implant listening and surveillance devices and tracking devices into her. And then they release her back in. And the contract or the deal is that she's to tell no one, and they'll know if she does because she's implanted, or they kill her. So her job is, if she wants to live or if she wants to, die nicely and not painfully the way she has hurt so many other people. She doesn't deserve that. But anyway, I digress. If she wants them to have any sympathy or empathy for her, then she has to play the game, right? So they send her out and they're like, have you ever been fishing? Boop, they throw out the net, right? So they throw their line out there, and then, being brilliant that they are, that the Trump team is and the good guys are, then they arrest Jeffrey Epstein. And then they tell the world that he's dead so that the bad guys stop trying to kill him. And not only that, but the other really great thing about telling the world that he's dead or by announcing his death is that when you do that, so when you have a court case, if they want access to anything in your house or evidence and that kind of stuff, they have to get a warrant, right? Not if you're dead. If you're dead, they get access to all your stuff. You're dead. So they have him in witness protection on agreement that he is going to be, he's sitting there singing like a canary, you guys. There's Jeffrey Epstein, blah, 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 blah. And that's how he's trying to save his own life, right? So the whole world thinks he's dead. They get Epstein. Epstein's blah, 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 blah. That leads to Weinstein. And isn't it weird that they're all Steens? Anyway, nothing against any of the Steens. I just thought that was weird. Jeffrey Epstein, Weinstein, all the Steens are like pedophiles. Not all of them. Please forgive me if your last name is Steen. It's not you. Anyway, so Epstein squeals on all his little friends. There's arrests made. Weinstein goes down. The whole Me Too thing happens, right? Then they wait a while, and after they announce Epstein's death, see, all the people are panicking now. They can't kill him. They're worried about what information did the feds get, what didn't they get. So all these bad people, where do they go? Where do they go, you guys? Go to Ghislaine. That's where they go. They phone her. They get in contact with her. And they're like, oh, yeah, wait a minute. Oh, what about this operation? What about this? I got kids over here and I got this over here. You got to help me do this and you got to help me do that. And they give her all the information because she's the head of the snake, or one of the heads of the snake. And so then what does the Trump team do? Okay, let's reel this little fishy in. And then ever since they arrested Ghislaine Maxwell, there has been thousands of arrests and millions of children saved and all over the world. It is extraordinary. Last week, we saw the Abraham Accord come in, and like Trump said today in his address to the UN, is that there will be no more blood spilt in the sand. Our children are going to grow up in a world that doesn't include war. War is not normal. It's only, it was a way for them to keep us locked in fear and control. See, when you look up, I got to stay clear, not get emotional. When you look up maritime law and common law, or maritime law and constitutional law, see, when war comes in, so let's look at coronavirus, for example. When this all happened, then our governments were thrown into a state of emergency, right? And when we are in a state of emergency, it gives the government more powers than they would have before. And usually that means taking our rights away more than ever before. So on that note, I want to read you something, because there was bill that was passed in Alberta on July 29th under the guise of coronavirus. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. So they create a war or they create a crisis, and they use that crisis to take your rights away, to take your God-given rights away, like is your God-given right to breathe fresh air, for example. But anyway, so there was a bill that passed on July 29th on the Public Health Act that gives them the ability, a medical officer, the ability to come in your home, remove you from your home, remove your kids from the school without your permission. They don't need your permission, you guys. There's 4 pages of this. This is so not ideal for showing you guys this, but there's 4 pages. I just knocked it off. Of this Alberta Health Act. And I highly encourage you to go look at this, because this is what they're doing when we're not looking, you know, when you don't want to pay attention to politics because it's boring and it's stressful. So I don't want to know. I just don't want to know. I don't want to know. You can bury your head in the sand all you want. But when this all happens, you're going to feel the effect. When the earthquake comes, it's going to hit your house too. Just because you're not paying attention doesn't mean that it's not going to hit your house. It just means that you're not going to understand what's going on. It just means that you are vulnerable to believe the lies that they're pushing down your throat. Because if you're not being able to use your own mind and your own consciousness and your own common sense and think for yourself, then you are just a victim of whatever they tell you. And you just go along with the flow and do whatever they tell you. Have you guys ever seen the movie Ants? I highly suggest that you guys all see the movie Ants, because like at the end of the movie, they all realize that there's more of them than there is of the grasshoppers. And the only way that they stop the grasshoppers from controlling them and harming them the way that they have been for so long is to stand up and all come together. And that's what we got to do. All of us together. I don't have a big account. There's like 30-something people watching right now. And you know what? But each and every single one of you have a voice. And each and every single one of you can start researching this for yourself. Can start, thinking for yourself and talking to other people. As the cabal is getting desperate. They're shutting big accounts down left, right, and center. I've already been censored once. I've been banned once, or not banned, but shut down. And then I don't have the ability to even comment on a post or anything like that. So that's why I don't get up here and talk about this during my lives and stuff, because that is I don't want to lose my only platform to be able to pass on messages. That's so extraordinarily important, especially right now, because this is how I help. This is what I do, right? Because the way that we destroy that old cabal is by not falling for their fear-mongering anymore, not playing into their stupidity games, and by living love and health and happiness. And when we are happy, they have no control over us. It literally breaks the chains that are holding us down. And what is going on with so many people right now? There's people all over the world whose lives are blowing up in front of their faces. What I mean by that is it feels like there's relationships dying all over the place. There is people their lives are just being twisted and turned upside down, whether it's losing jobs or being forced to move or shifted across the country, and just really weird things happening that are overwhelming and dramatic and just boom, like they're what's the word I'm looking for? Intense. They're extraordinarily intense. And the reason for that is, you guys, that we are supposed to be happy. We're supposed to be happy. And so many people haven't been happy for a long time. So God is bringing to the surface. He's bubbling up all of the things that need our attention. And you're either going to pay attention and fix it, right? And move into the happiness that you deserve and that has been wanting to come for you. See, a lot of us are going, please bring me happiness. And God's going, I'd love to bring you happiness, but you got to get out of the town of Shitville. And they're like, no, I like Shitville. You got to bring happiness to Shitville. And they're like, listen, I can't do that. You've got to move. I promise you, we'll take you to happiness, but you got to move. And some people are just so unwilling to believe that you can't bring happiness to Shittville and that they shouldn't have to move. So you know what? Their world is being ripped away, whatever is causing that anxiety and pain in that old town. Bad word to use. I'm sorry, you guys, I get carried away. But that's being ripped away from you and leaving room for the good stuff to be brought in. And the reality is that they're trying to get us all to connect to our teams. We don't connect to God and connect to our teams and whatnot if everything is going good and easy in our life, you know? You ever hear the old saying, there's no atheists in foxholes? What that means is that when everything is caving in around you, when bullets are whizzing past your head and you could die any minute, all of a sudden each one of us are talking to the big man upstairs. All of a sudden we connect, and it's instinctual within us, just like it's a baby's instinct to grab your finger the minute that they're born. It's our instinct when we come in this world and when we leave this world that we reconnect with our source. And we don't have to wait till we die to reconnect with our source. That's what I get up here every single day and try to teach you guys, is that when you talk to them and you pay attention to the signs and symbols and synchronicities. And again, I'm going to say this again. Synchronicity does not mean random. It does not mean fluke. Synchronicity means synchronistic, not synchronicity. Coincidence. Coincidence doesn't mean random. Coincidence doesn't mean fluke. Coincidence means cooperative incidences. Cooperative universal incidences. It is the language of spirit. Spirit doesn't have a physical body anymore to, help you buy that car. But they can, bring a salesman into your path that's going to give you a car that has like a 50% off and like an amazing deal. And, they can help line things up with coincidence, cooperative incidences. Spirit is all around us, and the way that we get to happiness and joy is by understanding that we are not disconnected from the all. We are all connected to each other, and we are connected to our loved ones on the other side. So whatever is blowing up in your life right now, don't focus on the blow up. Don't look at the old world and be like, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. If you are, whatever you are aware of, you're going to get more of. Whatever you are thinking and feeling of is going to get more of. So what with our lives, not all of our lives, but a lot of people's lives blowing up right now, it's giving us the opportunity to talk to our team and ask for the guidance to get the way out. But in order to get out, you guys, you have to ask for where you want to go. You have to say, this is where I want to go, guide me there. Just like your GPS. You can't say, tell me which grocery store to go to. Your GPS is just going to give you a list of grocery stores and say, you pick. But And the dead and God is kind of the same way, because we have free will here. They're going to give you a list of choices and say, you pick, you tell me where you want to go. And when you say to them, I want to go to peace and happiness, they're going to start sending you the breadcrumbs and they're going to draw you a map and take you right there. It'll just come. It'll just be easy. And when it comes and when it's easy, you don't feel separated. You don't feel lack. You don't feel disconnected. You don't feel all alone. You feel the powerful love of humanity. And I promise you guys, people are good. I can't say this enough. I have to say this again and again and again. Please hear me. I know a lot of you think that, people are assholes. And I find myself saying this when I'm driving a lot too. That's just instinct. It's our instinct to think that when somebody does something rude, that they're being a jerk or they're an asshole or they're just a dick, right? But the reality is they're seeing it. Do you think how many people are actually going out there purposefully trying to be dicks? Right? How many people? I'll tell you what's happening to those people. This is what I love about the world too. And it's a little bit of a digress, but what's happening to those people, the people that enjoy being dicks, is that God, if God or President Trump said, okay, could all the bad people please raise your hand? We want to release unlimited prosperity and wealth and goodness throughout the world, but we need to round up all the bad people. Could all the bad people, all the people that want to cause harm and enjoy watching other people hurt, could you all raise your hand so that you can go to jail and we can all have a great world? Do you think anybody's going to raise their hand? Of course not. So what does he do? He creates all these situations for the bad people to join in. So the bad people are joining Antifa. The bad people are looting and rioting. The bad people are destroying cities. The bad people, see what he's doing is he's giving all of these people situations to join. And then when they do, he's like, thank you. Now we got the bad people. They're all being rounded up one by one by one. It's actually brilliant. Okay, so here we go. Somebody says they keep getting bumped out. I'm sorry, you guys. This thing happens. Facebook has decided that I'm not allowed to have any more than 40 people watching because they don't want me getting up here talking about this stuff. So as soon as my viewers start getting above 30, 40, they will bump people out. And that's, again, part of the censorship. They don't want us talking about this. They have been censoring all the big accounts all over the place. And that's why it's extra important. You know, I've been really leery, I guess, about getting up here and talking about all this stuff to you guys because, like I said, I don't want to lose my platform, and I hate getting censored. But last night in my dream, God came to me in a dream and said, you need to do this, and you need to practice what you preach, Tracy. You need to remember that you are not alone. Because, see, I feel alone. I'm just like, you see the hair color, right? I say that in jest. Not that I'm stupid. I'm clearly not stupid. But technology is definitely not my strong suit. It is absolutely not my strong suit. It's not my first, second, third, or even fourth language. It's something, it's like pig Latin to me right now. But I'm getting there. I'm working on it every single day. And, so when I start telling you guys stuff and then you guys start telling other people stuff and we start spreading the word, that's how we're going to bring this in. Okay, so another thing that I want to talk about real quick, and then I'm going to wrap this up. I've given you guys a lot to chew on, a lot to think about. I want you to keep in mind that this is about the United States election because the United States is the head of the snake, not just the head of the snake. Donald Trump right now is in charge of the whole world. In case you're wondering, that's what the yellow stripe on the flag in the United States, in case some of you are wondering what that yellow stripe or that gold stripe is, that is an indication that we are in maritime law. Like I was saying to you before, a long time ago when we were in World War I or World War II, they took us out of common law, which gave everybody natural and alienable rights, like breathing and financial privacy, and all of our judges and lawyers and things were trained in a constitutional law, and it moved us into a maritime law. And they didn't want you to know this. They just kind of, tucked it away and hoped everyone would forget about it. So I think what Trump's doing right now is in order to help people understand, because see, most of us don't even understand. Most people are like, what? What's maritime law? We just don't know. They haven't taught us this. They don't teach us this in school. It's not like we get around the dinner table and talk about how, I wonder when we're going to be out of maritime law. What are you talking about, Grandpa? That was 100 years ago. So what he's doing is he brings back the true flag that represents the law that is in operation at this time. They weren't showing you that flag before because they didn't want you to know that. They didn't want you to look it up. Now he does. Now he wants you to look this up. He wants you to understand what is coming because he can't just get in there and just be like, all right, this is what we're doing, because people just wouldn't understand, you guys. It's so multi-layered. It's so complex that it has to be implemented little by little. People have to see their heroes for who they really are and know that we've been worshiping the wrong people. We need to be worshiping the heroes that, the frontline workers, the heroes that save our lives, our police. Let me just say, I support the police. They haven't always been nice to me. I've had my stuff with police, as we all have. But I think every single one of us watching this has enough common sense to know that without the police in our world, it would be a really dangerous place, especially as a Canadian, you guys. Oh my God. And I don't say that lightly. In our country, we are not just allowed to own guns the way that they are in the States. I mean, we're allowed to have them, but there's so many restrictions and laws that 99% of the people in Canada, maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but it's still really high, especially if you compare it to the States. We don't have guns in our house. We have no way to support ourselves. So what are you guys thinking? If you defund the police, who are you going to call? Ghostbusters? Like, seriously. there's a meme that I saw that I absolutely loved. And I promise you, I'm going to try this. I'm actually going to try this. And I don't condone violence for anyone else. I don't want anyone else to do this. But if this situation presents it to me, I'm going to test the theory. I'm just that way. I have to. So this meme pops up and it says, you know what? The next time I hear somebody say that they want to defund the police and that they don't believe in the police, I'm just going to punch them right in the teeth and see how quickly they call the police. And if they call the police, then I'm going to just tell the police I punched him in the mouth because he was calling you names and he thought that you shouldn't be here. And I'll tell you something. The people that I love deserve to be protected. I can't protect them the way that I would want them to be protected, unfortunately. I need to have my 911. We all need to have 911. And our police and firefighters and heroes in our society deserve to be given the respect that they deserve. Yes, the bad ones need to be rounded up. That's what's going on in our society right now. The bad people are being rounded up. They're being exposed and then disposed. Exposed, disposed. Exposed, disposed. You see how this works? So don't get really freaked out as we come into October. What I've been told is, and I know this, some of you are going to groan, most of you are going to groan for this one, but 2020 has been the craziest year that we have had in the history of the world, right? And if you can take all of 2020 and put it into 1 month, we'll call that October. Yes, my friends, October is supposed to be extraordinarily crazy. But see, if you actually know that they're implementing NESARA and GESARA and world peace and prosperity and wealth and technology and health and therapies and all of this kind of stuff, if you actually know that this stuff is happening to expose the retard, bad word, I don't mean that in that way. If this is happening to expose the criminals, the corrupt people, the people that would rather hurt than love, then you understand that this is all, just get your popcorn, because I'll tell you something, we're all protected. If you are connected to your team, if you are not even just, we're all connected to our team, whether we know it or not, but as long as you can try to focus on the positive, then you are protected. And this is what I was told to do this live broadcast last night in my dream, is to practice what you preach, Tracy, and remember that you are protected. I don't have to, I feel vulnerable doing this, I feel a little scared, like what if they take me down, what if, and this kind of stuff where they're kicking everyone off after 40, it's horrible. But I know that the non-physical energies are going to take care of me and make sure that nothing happens beyond my inability to control it. And anything that they send my way is actually a blessing in disguise. And the more that we can get into the habit of seeing things that way, that, this is actually a blessing in disguise. It's a blessing in disguise. I had one of my members today who called in. There was an enormous hailstorm earlier in the year here, and a lot of the houses around here had so much damage. And so one of my members actually had some really frustrating last few months getting that damage all repaired and stuff. And one of the things that her grandma said to me today in her reading was that, wasn't that a wonderful distraction? We kept her distracted. A lot of us are having a hard time learning and absorbing and understanding all of this knowledge and waiting for the goodness to come in. It's kind of hard. So the universe and our lives are giving us some distractions. If everything is in alignment with right now, if you are in alignment with your peace and happiness, with what makes you happy in this world, then you're going to be given a whole bunch of breadcrumbs and stuff to lead you to more peace and happiness, and you're just going to enjoy it so much. And if there's a lot of chaos and tension and anxiety and things breaking down in your world, please remember that's an opportunity to pull you over to the happiness, because both is available. There is no such thing as just negative or just positive in any situation, no matter how dark or terrible it is, because the reality is that dark and terrible only creates positive. Dark and terrible is what creates the motivation and the propulsion towards change. Dark and terrible is one side of the flag, and which means that if dark and terrible exists, then amazingly, incredibly beautiful and amazing exist as well, because life is a yin and a yang. It's both. So, my friends, this has been fun. Thank you guys for all sitting through this. And I hope that this helped answer some of your questions. And please look through. There's so much stuff on my personal page, you guys. You're just going to have to keep scrolling down. If you want something specifically, feel free to send me a message and ask me if I have any information about something. I will so happily send it to you. Send you privately the memes and all of that kind of stuff. I got censored last week because I posted some information, some facts about some masks, and I don't want to do that again, so I'd rather send it privately. But I have thousands and thousands and thousands of memes and facts and little clippets of information and Alberta Health Act and all of that kind of stuff. I have that. So if you'd like that information, just ask me and I'll send you. If I can, if I have it, I'll send it to you. And get ready, watch, get your popcorn out, just get excited, know that everything is happening exactly the way it's supposed to happen. You are being positioned to be in a position to receive this wealth and happiness. If anybody negative in your world has been preventing you from receiving or feeling happiness, they're getting taken out. Even if you didn't want them to be taken out, they're getting taken out. Because the way it was said to me by an old guy in my dream, I don't even know who he was, but he looked at me and he goes, "Well, kid, the world's going to be happy whether they want to or not." And so just keep that in mind. Think of it that way. Things that are being pulled out of your life, they're being removed so that you have space for the most amazing and incredible future you could ever imagine. All right, my friends, it's late. I didn't even feed my kids yet. I just wolfed down a couple pieces of chicken, and then they want Wendy's, so barf. But that's okay. I'm offending Wendy's now. I'm not good at this live thing. Have a great night, you guys. I will see you again on, what day is today? Tuesday. I will see you guys on, I'm losing my brain, on Saturday for Member Live. Take care. Have a great night.